Chapter 3, Practice 3.2. Part A. Find the missing element in each set. You may not use a calculator. Before we solve for the missing element, let's first figure out or identify each element after the reading. Problem 1. $35 is 20% of what amount? So $35, this number is the part. It's next to the word is. 20% is the rate. Of what? Of what amount? You see, what amount comes after the word of. So that is the base. Number 2, 5%. That is the rate. Of what number? That is the base that we don't know. Put P for 14. Number 3, 3.2 is 50% of what number? So 3.2 is the part. 50%, that is the rate. Of what number? We don't know. That's the base. Number 4, $170 is. That is the part. 85%, that is the rate. Of what amount? That is the base that we don't know. Number 5, 24 is. That is the part. 80%, that is the rate. Of what number? That is the base. We don't know the base. Number 6, $105 is 125% of what amount? So 105 is the part. 125% is the rate. Of what amount? We don't know. That is the base. Number 7, 190 is. That is the part. 95%, that is the rate. Of what number? We don't know the base. Number 8, what number is 15% of 60? See, 15% is the rate of 60. That is the base. So what number is? That is the part that's unknown. Number 9, 90%, that is the rate of the base. 15 is what number? The what number here is the part that is unknown. Number 10, $42 is what percent of $168? $42 is the part. What percent? We don't know the rate. Of $168, that's the base. Number 11, $150 is. That's the part. 200%, that's the rate. Of what number? We don't know the base. Number 12, 15% of $62 is what amount? 15% is the rate of $62. That's the base. And we don't know the part. Let's do number 13. 9 is 1% of what number? 9 is the part. 1% is the rate. And we don't know the base. Number 14, what percent? See, we don't know the rate. Is 126, that's the part, of 140, that is the base. So we don't know the percent, which is the rate. Number 15, 65%, that is the rate. Of $1,200. That is the base. Is what amount? We don't know the part. Number 16, 5%, that is the rate, of an amount we don't know the base, is $156. That is the part. Number 17, 2.5%, that's the rate, of a number of what whole we don't know the base, is 100. That's the part. Number 18, what percent? Now we don't know the rate. Is $15. That's the part. Of $156, that's the base. Now that we identified all the three elements, we will need to find the missing element of each question. Why don't we just work on number 10 through number 18? Because number 1 through number 9 are very similar to number 10 through number 18, and you can work the rest from 1 through 9 by yourself. 10. 42 is. So let's look at number 10 over here. Let's draw the big plus. 100 goes here. Okay, 42 is. Remember, the part goes here. The rate, we don't know, so it goes here. And the base is $168. It goes right here. Okay, step 1. $42 times 100. So 42 multiplied by 100, you will get 4,200. Step 2. Divide the answer 4,200 divided by 168. So this is what you will need to do since we can't use a calculator. Okay. Now we need to ask ourselves, how many 168 right here? How many 168 are there in 420? Now you may say 2. Let's try 2. So let's put 2 above the 0 here, because it takes all the way to the 0 here to be able to divide it by 168. So the answers from the 4 here and the 2 here are blank. 2 times 8 is 16, right? Only 6. Carry the 1. 2 times 6 is 12. Plus 1 is 13. Carry 1. 2 times 1 is 2. Plus 1 is 3. Okay, subtract. We have a 4 here. That's going to be an 11. So that's 8. And that's going to be a 0. Now bring down the last 0. Now ask ourselves, how many 168 are there in 840? Okay. Now if I were you, like I said before, I look at the last 8 here and the last 0 here. If I were you, I would look at number 8 here and number 0 at the end here. I will see what number times 8 that ends with a 0. So that looks like 5. So I'm going to try 5. 5 times 8 is 40. Write only the 0. Carry the 4. 5 times 6 is 30. Plus the 4 is 34. Carry a 3. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 makes 8. Okay, subtract, I have 0. So what is the 25 that I get here? The 25 here is the rate, isn't it? You see, the rate is unknown. So put 25 right here. So that is going to be 25%. Okay, going to number 11. Let's write down the big plus. 100 goes here. Okay, P, which is 150, that goes here. R is 200%, that goes here. And we don't know B. Okay, so in this case, we will need to multiply these two. That's step 1. So 150 multiplied by 100, that's going to be 150 and 2 zeros. Now divide that number, which is 15,000, divide that number by 200. Okay, so you need to cancel this 0 with the bottom 0, this top number 0, cancel with the bottom 0. So now you have 150 divided by 2. You should get 75. 75 is the base. So let's put 75 right there. And we can circle that. Number 12. Why don't we do number 12 over here? Okay, big plus. 100 goes here. 15% goes here. $62 goes here. And we don't know the part, so put P for that. Step 1. Multiply 15 by 62. So 62 multiplied by 15. Let's do that here. 5 times 2 is 10. Write 0, carry 1. 5 times 6 is 30, plus 1, 31. 1 times 2, 2. 1 times 6, 6. Plus. So you have 0, 3, 9. Okay, 930. This time, 930 divided by 100. That's step 2. So 930 divided by 100. So when you divide anything by 100, all you have to do is move the point from the end to the left twice. That should give you 9.3. Okay, in this case, that's $9.30. So we put that answer where the P is. So that's $9.30, and circle that. Let's work with number 13. Big T, or big plus. 100 goes here. P is 9, so put 9 here. 1% goes here. And B goes here. Okay, step 1. We need to multiply 9 times 100. So 9 times 100, we get 900. Now, step 2, 900 divided by 1. So we should get 900. So in this case, the answer for B is 900. Let's put 900 here. And we may circle that answer. Number 14. Again, big plus. So 100 goes here. What percent? We don't know the percent. So we do know that 126 is the part, and 140 is the base. So step 1, 126 multiplied by 100. That is the same as 126 100. Now 126 100 divide by 140. Cancel the 0 and 0 on the top and the bottom. So now you have 14 goes into 1260. Okay, now let's solve for that. How many 14s in 126? That's the question. The biggest number you can have is a 9. So let's try 9. 9 times 4 is 36. Carry 3. 9 times 1 is 9 plus 3 is 12. So subtract, bring down the 0. 14 goes into 0 is 0. So you have 90. That means that's 90%. So write 90% right here. And circle. Number 15. Big plus goes here. 65% goes here. You may put the percent sign, or you don't have to. 1200 goes here. And we don't know the P. So these are the two numbers that we need to multiply. So 65 multiplied by 1200. Notice I put the two zeros on the outside. So I can just drop those two zeros and just multiply 65 by the 12. 2 times 5 is 10. Write only a 0, carry 1. 2 times 6 is 12. That's 13. Now, done with the 2. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 6 is 6. Okay, now plus 0, 0, 0, 8, 7. This is only step 1. Now, for step number 2, we have to divide 78,000 by 100. Okay, write 100 below that. Cancel the 0 with the 0, cancel the 0 with the 0, and what we have left is 780. So that is P. Let's put $780 as the part and circle that. Number 16. big plus. 100 goes here. 5% goes on the top right. You can put 5%. Okay, and then B is what we don't know, but we do know P. P is 156. So to solve for the answer, or to solve for B, we will need to multiply 156 by 100. So let's work that out here. We know step 1, 156 multiplied by 100. That is the same thing as 156 100. That's step 1. Step 2, 15,600 divided by 5. Okay, maybe we should put it in division form. So 5 goes into 15,600. Okay, now let's work that out. 5 goes into 15 3 times. That's 15. Subtract out, 0 left. Bring down the 6. 5 goes into 6 is only 1 time. So 1 times 5 is 5. Subtract, 1 left. Bring down the 0. 5 goes into 10 is 2 times. So write 2, which is 10 here. Bring down the next 0. 5 goes into 0 is 0. So that means the base is 3120. In this case, it's money, so it's gonna be 3,000. Let's put money $, 3,120 dollars, and we circle that. Number 17. Let's put number 17 here. Okay, big plus. 100 goes here. Okay, R is 2.5%. That is the same as 2.5. Why don't we put 2.5? Okay. Of a number we don't know, so that's B right here. Is P, which is 100. Okay. Then what do we do? What do we do here? Step 1, we should multiply 100 times 100. Okay, let's look at 100 times 100. So what I do is I say 1 times 1 is 1. Then add 4 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 10,000. Now divide 10,000 by 2.5. Okay, you may see it like this. So 2.5 divide into 10,000. Okay, so the idea is to make sure that the 2.5 is a whole number by moving the point to the end of 5. And when you do that, you need to add 1 0 here, because you are moving 1 spot here. Okay, now let's rewrite. That's 25. Okay, now instead of 10,000, I have 100,000. Okay, ask ourselves, how many 25s in 100? You should know that it's 4 times. So 4 times 25 is 100. Subtract out, I have 0. And the rest zeros, I can just move up. So now I have 4,000. 4,000 is my answer. Write 4,000 right here. And circle my answer. Number 18. Let's put 18 over here. Big plus. 100 goes here. R is what we don't know, so we put R here. And the $15.60, that is the part. And the $156 is the base. $156. Okay. So what we do here is we need to multiply the 15.6 times the 100. That is the first step. So let's do just that. 15.6 multiplied by 100. When you multiply by 100, it's the same thing as if you will move the decimal point twice to the right. So if I do that, I have 15 and 60. Okay, 1560. Now divide that 1560 by 156. We should know that 156 divided by 156 is 1 time. And 0 divided by 156 is 0 times. So in that case, it's a 10%. So R here is 10%. And circle the answer. Let's do number 19. So this is part B. Choose only the one best answer to each question. You may use your calculator. Okay, you may use your calculator, but I'm not going to use my calculator. I'm just going to work by hand so you can actually see how it works out. Number 19. Kevin's total payroll deductions are 30%. So that is the rate. Put R of his earnings. If his deductions add up to $369 for a 2-week period, that looks like it's going to be the part. How much were his earnings for the period? So they're actually looking for the gross pay. So the gross pay in this case is the base. That's the one that we don't know. That's the one that we're looking for. So on a big plus here, 30% goes up right, top right. And then 100, we know where it is. And the 369, 100 goes here, 369, and we don't know the base. So what is the first step? Step 1. Remember step 1? Multiply the two known diagonally. Okay, so 369 multiplied by 100, I get 369 and 2 zeros. So step 2, I divide the answer from step 1, which is 36,900, by the leftover number, which is the 3. So if I put a 3 here and 0 here, I will need to cross out the 0 here, cancel out 0 here. So now I end up 3690 divided by 3. So let's do that math mentally. 3 divided by 3 is 1. No left over. 6 divided by 3, that's 2. No left over. 9 divided by 3, that's 3 times. No left over. 0 divided by 3, 0 times. So what is this number? It's $1,230. That looks like choice C. Okay. Number 20, a city council established the following budget to improve public transportation. So salaries, 50%. Office lease, 35%. Equipment, 6%. Supplies, 2%. Miscellaneous, 7%. Those are the project costs. So if $72,000 is allotted for equipment is 6%. And 6% is already cost you $72,000. What is the total budget for the project? So we do know that 6%, that is the rate, isn't it? That is the rate. The $72,000, that's the part. And we don't know the total budget. We're looking for B, the base. So let's draw a big plus here. And B, we don't know. We do know this is 100. It's always going to be there. 72,000, that's going to go top left. Okay, and the rate is 6%. Okay, step 1. We need to do our 2 steps. So step 1, right, step 1, we need to multiply the 72,000 by the 100. So 72,000 multiplied by 100, then we get 72 and 5 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's like 7,200,000. Now step 2, we need to divide that answer, 7,200,000. Okay, divide that by 6. Okay, 6 is the one that is going with the base. So in that case, we may have to set up the problem like this. So 6 goes into 72 with the 5 zeros. So every 3 is a comma. Okay, now let's do our division here. 6 into 7 is 1 time. So you have 6 here. Subtract 1 left. Bring down the 2. 6 into 12, that's 2 times. Put 2 here, and you can cancel out because it will be subtract by itself. Now for the rest of the zeros, we can just move up. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. For every 3 numbers, comma, comma. So what is 1,200,000 means? That is the total budget. So we need to put total budget right there. Okay, that's C. For number 21, let's look at 21. It says Jack earns 5%. Okay, commission on each sale. If he is paid $160 commission, which of the following expressions could be used to find the amount of the sale? Okay, they don't want us to solve for the total sales, but they only want us to set up the problem to find the total sales. So let's do this. Let's put a big plus here. And the 100 always gotta be here. The rate, 5%, goes here. And the $160 is the part that goes here. So we don't know the base, and the base goes here. So to solve for the base, we need to multiply these two numbers and divide it by 5. So let's do 160 multiplied by 100. Whatever we get, we divide by 5. So what does this look like to you on the options here? What do you think? Well, isn't it A? Is it B, C, or D? Look carefully. You should have B. Number 22. American Loan Company mailed 3,600 customers an application for a new credit card. Only 20% of the customers returned the application. How many customers returned the application? So let's identify what is the 3,600 customers. That's the base. And only 20% of the customer returned. That is the rate. So we don't know the part, okay? We don't know the part. So according to our big plus, we put 100 here, and 3,600 goes bottom left, and we don't know the P, so P goes on top left. But we do know the rate is 20%. So how we find the P is, first we have to multiply the 20% by 3,600. That is step 1. Okay, step 1. We multiply 3,600 by 20. So notice I leave the 0 out. So I have to bring down my 0. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 6 is 12. Carry 1. 2 times 3 is 6, which is 7. That is step 1. Step 2. Divide 72,000 here by 100. If I divide 72,000 by 100, I will need to cancel this 0 with that 0, this 0 with that 0. So what I have left is 720. Now, what is the 720? 720 is the number that they actually returned the applications. So mark 720 as C.